Hey guys, what's going on? Hermdo back with you to recap the worst sports weekend I can remember. We've had bad weekends before, we've had bad losses before. Lions get their teeth kicked in, Wolverines get their teeth kicked in, the Tigers crap their pants against the worst team in their division. Absolute garbage, absolute crap. It stinks, it stinks. But let's get into the Tigers first. Let's do a little recap. I'm going to recap the whole series against the White Sox. They lost, which is not what you want to do um, heading into the middle of September when these games really start mattering. Not that it really matters that much because the Tigers pretty much got this division locked up, but still, it's one of those things. It's just, a lot of people are saying the Tigers aren't going to get far in the playoffs. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there for right now. Let's just recap this series. Okay, September 5th, Tigers 5, White Sox. Chicago extends its win streak to 6 games. Detroit starter Jack Flaherty, 4 in their third innings pitched, 4 earned runs, struggled to contain White Sox bats. White Sox starter Shane Smith, 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. Not dominant, but outlasted Detroit starter barely. Offensive highlights, Parker Meadows' first game back from AAA. Slugged a 2-run homer to return to action, tying the game early. Yet Colson Montgomery was the difference, 4 RBIs, including a 7th-inning 2-run homer. The key moments, a wild pitch that collided with contact miscue allowed 2 Tigers to score in the 4th, unlikely boost. Despite that, Detroit failed to protect a late lead. Then Kyler Montero gave up a 2-run homer. I don't remember who it was to. It doesn't really matter. It just Tigers, that's a pretty bad loss. But September 6th, Tarik Skubal starting, Tigers 6, White Sox 0. A dominant response to the series momentum swing, at least we thought it was. Tarik Skubal, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. Shut down the Sox completely. Marquis' 12th start with 6+ scoreless innings. It's absolutely insane. The season that Tarik Skubal is happening, historic by Tigers standards, and considering some of the pitchers the Tigers have had recently, but the early spark, Jahmai Jones, leadoff homer, he's been hitting really well. I think his OPS is around 900. His appearances this year, Jahmai Jones has been a nice spark plug for the Tigers. Scoring surge in the 4th, RBI plays from McKinstry and Baez, capped by Gleyber Torres' 3-run homer. Good to see Torres hit hard again. Canely, Rafael Montero closed out the game cleanly. Tommy Canely, I think, has 7 scoreless appearances in a row, which is pretty good, which is, really good considering his ERA was like north of 10. But solid defense support all around through the 4th inning rally. The 4th inning rally had a defensive miscue involved. Now, okay, you're feeling pretty good. You're heading into game 3. You're thinking, let's just finish off the White Sox, get an easy win. No such luck. Final score tonight's game, Tigers 4, White Sox 6. Chicago caps the sweep with a comeback afternoon win. It wasn't really a sweep. I don't know. Anyways, Chicago jumped ahead with a 2-run double by Andrew Benintendi in the 1st. Detroit countered immediately. 2 runs scored, an error and a sacrifice fly to 3-2. Lennon Sosa homered in the 3rd to tie, then delivered a breakout 8th inning with a 2-run RBI single. Tigers pitching struggled with control, issuing 9 walks in the game. Tommy Canely took the loss. Will Vest replaced him, but couldn't stop Sosa's go-ahead hit. Detroit's early fighting efforts showed promise, but recurring bullpen and control issues undermined their momentum and led to the series loss. So, to recap, September 5th, a loss 5-7. White Sox, September 6th, dominant Skubal performance. It was a win 6-0. We shut them out. Today's game, White Sox win 6-4. Sosa's 3 RBIs sealed a hussy comeback. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. Just one of those things. But let's get into the Lions. Let's do the pro sports first. Then we'll go down to the wonderful Wolverines and take a look there. But this Lions game was pretty god-awful. The Green Bay Packers defeated the Detroit Lions 27-13 at Lambeau Field, making Detroit's first loss in Green Bay since 2021. The Packers opened strong with 17 points in the first half and extended their lead to 24-6 in the 4th quarter before the Lions scored a touchdown in garbage time. Jordan Love completed 16 of 22 passes for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 128.6 passer rating. Scoring plays, touchdown to Tucker Kraft, 15 yards, touchdown to Jaden Reed, 17 yards. Quarterback run on 4th and 1, leading to Josh Jacobs' 3-yard touchdown run. Micah Parsons made a statement in his debut, pressuring Jared Goff and leading to an interception, and later recorded his first sack. Rashawn Gary delivered dominant defensive outing, 7 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and a tackle for a loss. See what happens when you have good edge rushers. See what happens. See what happens, Lions. See what happens, Mr. Holmes. Josh Jacobs added a rushing touchdown extending his streak to 99 consecutive games with a touchdown. Jared Goff, 31 for 39 for 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 4 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and an 88.6 passer rating. Rushing game stifled. Jahmyr Gibbs, 19 yards on 9 carries. David Montgomery, 25 yards on 11 carries, combined just 44 yards. I knew this offensive line was really going to struggle. And, Ragnow gone, and I was proven right. Take that, Markin Hitch. Yeah, it's hot garbage. Red Zone converted just 1 of 4 trips with a Goff INT instead of the 10th. So looks like we get a little bit of a sneak preview to Jared Goof. Looks like our good buddy Jared Goof is coming back. But anyways, lone Detroit touchdown came in the final minute. Spectacular one-headed 13-yard catch. Isaac Tesla, you guys should watch it. It's really fascinating. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback, is targeted heavily. Gave a 48-yard catch and a 17-yard touchdown and exited in the third quarter with a groin injury. Not good for the young cornerback, unfortunately. Yeah, he's looking like he's being pressured. Safety set, Joseph, but, the cornerback position is still a big question mark, but the defense held firm versus the run, limited Josh Jacobs 66 yards on 19 carries and made the Packers beat them through the air. Kicker Jake Bass was perfect on field goals 2 for 2, but the Lions special teams unit continued to underperform. Weak return game and penalties raising concerns that began in preseason. The winners, Packers defense, aggressive, disciplined, and opportunistic. Micah Parsons' immediate impact defined the tone of the defensive effort. I know a lot of people were saying that Micah Parsons alone does not make a Super Bowl contending team out of the Packers, but sure show does. He sure showed us, Jordan Love in the offense, efficient and smooth execution in the passing game. Lions O-line, inadequate protection led to early pressure and shut down the run. Offensive execution struggles, especially in red zone and finishing drives. There are plenty of opportunities. You saw Amon-Ra getting out wide, and I don't know what's going on. Looks like new coordinator. It's bad. It's bad. But secondary, Arnold struggles and injuries expose vulnerabilities. Special teams continued struggle Continued struggles carried into regular season, but yeah, final score 27 Packers, Lions 13. Packers offense, fast start, 3 scoring drives with the 17 points in the first half. Packers defense, strong pressure, Parsons and Gary, early INT, stifled run. Man alive. Offense, solid but pressured, run game ineffective, poor red zone. Impact player, Micah Parsons, despite having a sore back, despite a lot of people doubting him, despite a lot of trash talk from Lions fans, he really showed us. The one bright spot was Isaac Tesla's one-handed touchdown catch in garbage time. Lions weak points, O-line, red zone execution, secondary, and special teams. Boy, oh boy. But yeah, it's pretty bad. But let's get on to the Wolverines. This was a fun game. Oklahoma 24, Michigan 13. At Oklahoma Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma struck first. Quarterback John Mateer connected a 9-yard touchdown pass to Deion Burst, capping a 12-play, 75-yard drive. Michigan answered with a strong defensive play as T.J. Metcalf intercepted the Mateer pass, yet the offense stalled and failed to convert the turnover. They also got a muffed punt later in the game. Could not convert on that later, and Michigan secondary very nearly had a second INT from Mateer, but it bounced out of the cornerback's hands. Anyways, a promising Michigan drive stalled with Vada missed a 32-yard field goal from the 14-yard line. Oklahoma responded with an 80-yard drive, culminating a 2-yard touchdown run by Mateer, extending their lead to 14-0 at the halftime. Wink Martindale had no idea what to do when Mateer was using his legs, but yeah, I didn't think the defense was that bad. Some people said it was kind of garbage. I thought they did an all right job. They did as much as they could. They kept it close. The game should have been. I'm surprised that Oklahoma didn't get a couple more scores, and I'm surprised the score stayed under 24, or under 30, I should say. Michigan opened heatedly, and the first play from scrimmage, Justin Haynes broke free for a staggering 75-yard rush touchdown, Michigan's longest offensive play since 2022, making it 14 at the very start of the third quarter. Oklahoma replied with this swiftly with a 5-play, 51-yard drive capped by Mateer's 10-yard rush touchdown. Score 21-7. Michigan forced a fumble recovered by Cole Sullivan at the Oklahoma 31-yard line and settled for a 42-yard field goal from Zavada, cutting it to 21-10. Later in the quarter, Michigan marched 60 yards, aided by a 44-yard Underwood to McCulley catch, but settled for another field goal, score 21-13. Oklahoma 8 clock and sealed the win with a 16-play, 78-yard drive that ate up like 8 minutes, and Sharon Moore already burned 2 crucial timeouts, and Brent Venables he was taking his sweet time. That drive lasted forever. That ate up so much clock. That was really, really impressive display there. That's what winning teams do. They wear you down. They wear the clock down. They know what they're doing, but they finished with 21 yards, Sandell field goal with 144 left, final 24-13. Total yards, Michigan 288, Oklahoma 408. Rushing yards, 146 for Justice Haynes and a touchdown, 138 for Mateer, who had 74 and 2 touchdowns. Passing yards was 9 and touchdown, 1 INT. Leading receiver Donovan McCulley, 301 yards. Deion Burke, 7 catches for Oklahoma, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Turnover 0. Oklahoma 2. Michigan won the turnover game, but could not capitalize. Time of possession, 27:48 for Michigan, 27 minutes, 48 seconds. 32 minutes, 12 seconds for Oklahoma. Justice Haynes delivered a breakout, 125 yards rushing, an electric 75-yard touchdown. Donovan McCulley, Michigan's top receiving threat, 3 receptions for 91 yards, including a pivotal 44-yard catch. Cole Sullivan and TJ Metcalf, defensive playmaker. Sullivan recovered a fumble. Metcalf had a big interception. So, yeah, the secondary is not really what I'm concerned about. It's just the play calling by Chip Lindsey really bothered me. When they let Bryce Underwood roll out, when they let him get out of the pocket, use his legs a little bit, move a little bit down the field, he was dynamic. He was getting the ball down the field. The offense was clicking along. Every time they made a decent offensive play, they just went back to throwing these ineffective screens and giving the ball to either Marshall or Haynes and just running it up the gut, and they just keep getting stuffed. They could not get past that line. They barely get past the line of scrimmage. It was pathetic. Oklahoma beat us in the trenches. It was clear. It was men against boys. John Mateer, we all know OU has an excellent legacy of quarterbacks. You got Caleb Williams, you got Baker Mayfield. But yeah, it's with Baker Mayfield, other guys, OU has a lot of really great quarterbacks, a real legacy of great quarterbacks, and John Mateer looks like every bit as good as some of these guys. He looks like a men playing against boys, and it was just, Bryce Underwood, they put him, he did not look prepared. He looked every bit, the true freshman that he is, and that's not knocking him. He just was not in a position to succeed. Lindsey's play calling was absolutely terrible. The offensive line was terrible. Michigan's running game lacked consistently outside Haynes' big play. Haynes had a decent game. He was probably really the only bright spot for Michigan. The offensive coordination issues, offensive inefficiencies under coordinator Chip Lindsey were glaring. Missed opportunities, red zone struggles persisted despite defensive turnovers, defensive fatigue. The defense allowed Oklahoma 408 yards. It was worn down by sustained drives, especially evident in the late clock management. Lost caused Michigan to tumble 8 spots to number 23 in the AP poll, while Oklahoma surged upward. Michigan's road trip in Norman ended in disappointment despite flashes, Haynes' explosive run, stout defensive movements, and flash in the passing game. The Wolverines couldn't sustain any rhythm or capitalize on momentum. Turnovers, missed kicks, and failing to adjust under pressure were costly. As Michigan regroups, consistency and offensive execution will be imperative moving forward. So we all, Lions have a lot of room for improvement. They really need to tighten it down. A lot of the issues we were worried about, defense, offense, same thing with Michigan. We were worried the offensive line for both of these teams is very questionable. The secondary for the Lions is a weak spot. Secondary for Michigan seems to be one of their strong points. It's just the running game, for the Lions was absolutely disastrous. The offense, it's just when Gibbs and Montgomery are combining for less than 50 yards, you got a problem. Green Bay knew exactly what they were doing. They closed the gaps. They went down. They clamped down on them. They were not getting any yards whatsoever. I mean, the line of scrimmage was totally up. It was just it was a mess. It was a big stinking mess. Tigers got to tighten up. They got Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal's a bright spot in your rotation. You got Tarek Skubal and 4 clowns. And the bullpen has been consistent lately. Guys like Montero and guys like Kyle Finnegan have been locking it down, but Finnegan's on the 15-day DL. Hopefully he'll be back for October. But, Kane Lee's been okay. Montero's been very, very good after a rough start. Will Vest, he's still got like one of the highest ERAs or the lowest ERAs in the 9th inning. So, I mean, I think we should be all right. But as for like a long postseason run, I just don't see it from the Tigers this year. Lions, I knew they were going to take a step back. This looks really messy. Looks like, we're definitely missing Ben Johnson on offense. The weaknesses in the offensive line are glaring. Maybe it's Brad Holmes' fault. You want to blame him for not replacing Frank Ragnow. Not that it's really easy to replace a guy like Ragnow or Zeitler or, getting any pressure on Jordan Love. I think it's just one of those things. Davenport looked bad. It was just really, really sloppy. They were beating us in the trenches. It just didn't look good. So these teams, it was a bad sports weekend. We need a lot of work on these teams. We need a lot. There's room for improvement. Underwood, at times, he looked really, really good. He looked like he's got the tools and the talent, but they're just not using him correctly. People were begging him. I remember going on Twitter and people were just saying, stop these runs, stop these screens, get them out wide, spread out the offense. The huddles are taking too long. The defensive backs are playing too far. The positioning's bad. The scheme is bad. It was a real mess for Michigan. They got a lot they need to work on. Sharon Morris suspended for 2 games. So that kind of sucks, even though they got a couple, cake games coming up. This is the first ranked match that the Wolverines have had. It's a tough game. I had a bad feeling about this game. And so I guess I was right about that. I had some misgivings about the Lions, but I felt good about their chances against the Packers because they've been dominating the Packers lately. But this game, it was an absolute mess. They need to really dig deep, and I trust Dan Campbell to get these guys to right the ship. But they still have a lot of flaws. I know we returned a lot of guys, and this offense, this team is very solid on paper. Got some really great players. But man, we need to be better. We need to be better. I know that's the most cliched thing ever, but they really got to tighten these things up. But I trust if anyone's going to turn around, I think it's going to be the Lions if I had to pick. But the Pistons might be the only team worth watching in Detroit this year, honestly, because the Wings are going to be mid. But this is a bad way to start September. This is a bad way to start, the college football, pro football season. This is a bad way to finish up the MLB season for the Tigers. But that's all I got for you guys. I'm running along. I'm just rambling. Don't pay any attention to me, but it's just sloppiness all around. But that's all I got for you guys for right now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Detroit Fan Forum, and I'll talk to you guys later.
I thought you said I was all right, Spider.
No, you ain't all right, Spider. You got a lot of fucking problems.
No, I thought you said you were all right.